100% more explosions.
Hello folks, we are visiting the Llama Temple today, and then afterwards Hannah will leave and we will part ways and then go to the Forbidden City most likely.
As we cry because Hannah's leaving.
She gets us all our best deals.
And she's just generally a nice person to travel with.
Also true. And so yeah, here they worship the llama, yeah?
Yeah, I think that's what you
General
were saying
idea?
earlier. I haven't read the travel guide.
I thought that's what you told me earlier.
No.
Yeah. I have no idea what this place is about then. It's just called a Llama Temple. Fair enough. So far I have seen no llamas. We have reached the inner sanctum. So, the temple is actually quite a bit larger than I thought. Looks like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly even 5 or 6 respective prayer halls, I guess, for lack of a better word on my part. Places where there's a statue of Buddha and to pay your respects and to give your prayers and offerings. This place is huge, and Jason and I were just talking, to be in the middle of downtown Beijing and be so large. It's probably one of the larger temples we've been to on this trip. And again, you have everybody doing their thing over here, lighting their incense. And see if I can kind of show you a little bit inside. I think Jason has actually managed to sneak some photos from inside, so should be good. And you can see this is kind of where a lot of the monks, and there are very many practicing monks still at this temple. It's very much an actual functioning temple still. You can see where each one of them has his own light to read scripture from. You can just see rows of it. So, I had a very blonde Kevin moment. This whole time I've been wandering around kind of joking about where are the llamas. I see no llamas. So far I have seen no llamas. The whole time I'm trying to figure out, why is this called the Llama Temple? Why is it called the Llama Temple? Somehow it has slipped my mind that they're not talking about the animal. They are talking about the actual llama, the religious figurehead. How I managed to forget that one, considering we have a living one today. It's very famous, called the Dalai Lama. I have no idea, but I did it anyways. And yeah, when I asked Jason this morning, when he mentioned the temple, I said, "Really? Do they have llamas there?" And he said yes, thinking that I was joking. I was not. That being said, now it makes perfect sense to me. I walked into a room and it said something about this place.
Turning it into a lamasery.
Yeah, how that it's a lamasery, so it's like a seminary school essentially for Buddhism. And then I was like, oh. This is a very amusing moment and embarrassing. So, yeah, that being said, I think we're going to head out of here and enjoy the rest of our day. So see you. Hello folks, we're about to hop a subway here to Tiananmen Square and the Forbidden City. So I'm going to try to give you a nice little video of what it's like on the subway. Pretty much imagine New York. It's about the gist of it. Oh, and we figured out that Beijing actually has 30 million people in it last night. So, yeah, that's about the gist of it. We will see you when we get there.
For you being such a tall guy in those subways and in, like, I mean, I can only imagine that since the difference in height is so great that just about everything there would have been a bit smaller.
There wasn't a single bed I slept in that my feet didn't hang off the edge of. Even here in America, things aren't built for somebody my height. I mean, if I'm working at a counter, I'm constantly hunched over. It's something that I struggle with even here. So over there, it's just 10 times worse. Everywhere I went, I stood out. Everywhere. I had pictures taken of me so often that it made me feel like I was starting to understand what a celebrity feels like with paparazzi. I was that out of place to them. Not only was I Waigoren, not only was I an American Waigoren, I was a very, very tall American Waigoren. There was one particular moment at the Longmen Grottos, a very famous Buddhist site, carvings all over in the cliff sides. And I was just in this sea of people, just this massive sea of people. And periodically throughout the day, I'd had my picture taken. You know, people would just point at me and they would, you know, kind of point to their camera and say, pose for a picture, and have their friends stand by me. And it's okay, yeah, fine. No problems. I'm a chill dude. And it was honestly kind of fun. When I really understood how rare it was for me to be where I was, from their perception, was in that moment. I was in a crowd, and I turned around to a man putting his 3, maybe 4-year-old child in my arms without saying a word. Suddenly I was holding this child, this little girl, and she was staring at me like, what the hell just happened? And I was staring at her like, what the hell just happened? She had this worried look on her face like, are you going to eat me? And I turned my gaze to the father, who's standing with his 2 young boys, and he's pointing to his camera and then points to me. And it became apparent at that point that he wanted his daughter in a picture with someone like me. And at that moment, I realized how rare I was in their culture. Of course, I posed for the picture. The daughter had to look terrified in the picture, but I'm sure years down the line, it's going to be something that they enjoy very much. And then I sat her down, and she quickly ran to her father and hid behind him. But that was the moment where I kind of realized, you know, how out of place I was in that culture.
So this is pretty much the scene as you enter Tiananmen Square during the weekday. The before people get off work. This is a mass of people. As you can see, there's a very large amount of people here. I guess we're gonna keep walking out into the square. And then basically what we're doing is we're trying to make our way through the square to get to the Forbidden City. And it's turned out to be a fun little excursion into the masses. And here's another tunnel of people. Lots of people. There you go. All right, we are finally through ticketing and security and blah 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 blah. So now we enter the Forbidden City. Pretty awesome.
我们的正中的龙椅上，王公大臣们按照文罗主席的
There we are.
向皇帝奏书。
So we're pretty much at the highest point in the Forbidden City, and you kind of get a feel for how far it stretches. It stretches way off to the corner where the kind of temple is. You can see the tower right out there, and then it just goes and goes. You can see another part of it way off in the distance. Way off in the distance. Pretty big. Pretty big. So, alright, I think we're going to kind of head back. I was hoping we could get up to there, because that would be an amazing view of the whole city. Hello folks, we're at a temple up on that hill I showed you. Whew. The view is breathtaking. Literally, it's a long walk. Here we go. Buddha agrees, it is most excellent.
Hey guys, Zach here. I'm deep in the editing process of Everyday Explorers episode 4. You can see Kevin over here on the computer screen. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about this China footage because it looks like I'm going to start wrapping it up as we move on to our trip to Peru. And, it's been a blessing for me to be able to watch Kev's trip as I'm going through the editing process. And I mean, there's hours of footage here, and it's just really fascinating to see the model that Kevin developed in terms of how we approach getting footage on the trip. And the guy that he went with, Jason, is also going to be really instrumental in Everyday Explorers as we move forward. He just got off of another huge trip in Southeast Asia, which he's going to be sending me footage from. So, Kev really set the bar high on collecting footage on this trip, and sadly he lost a lot of it, and I haven't been able to get a lot of the still photos. And as we develop the show further, we're probably going to revisit this China footage because there's a lot there that I have overlooked or chosen to exclude because of a multitude of reasons. But it seems like it was an amazing trip, and I just wanted to make a note that we're definitely going to be going back to this footage later on in the show. So make sure to hit like and subscribe and do your thing. Leave a comment if you would. Check out our Patreon page. We'll see you in Peru next time. Cheers.